is trying to adjust to the change, and then ultimately you have life two, the life that begins as the crisis begins to wind down. And so helping the people, the humans in the snow globe, adjust to the change in routine, adjust to the stress, the long hours, that's part of our job as advisors. So when people are in crisis, one of the things that we believe most strongly is that there is always the potential, even through hardship, for people to come out intact and even to grow because of it. And we think that it's an extremely useful point of view because it means that when you go into a meeting with a client, you believe they're going to come out of it okay, no matter what the outcome is, no matter what happens as a result of the crisis, you believe they are going to be able to adapt, and that you as a trusted guide are going to be there to help them as they adapt to that. And one of the ways that they best adapt to the new situation, to the new life two, to the snow globe being shaken up, is to set priorities. And we always wrestle with the word priorities because we wonder, is that really what we mean? Are we talking about values? Are we talking about goals? But priorities are important because they represent a rank order. And if you go back to the idea of grief brain, which we talked about earlier, there's only so much a brain in crisis can take on. And so suggesting to someone, these are your lifelines. This is what matters most to you. And if you're a business or an organization, that can be, this is what matters most to your organization. Often, I will tell you, that is not a PR response, and it's often not a legal response. Most of the time, what matters most to an organization are their people and their brand. So for our crisis management clients, we go through a priorities exercise in the first week because we believe that if it's the people and the brand, then that should set the stage for every communication. It should set the stage for the entire strategic response. And as challenging of a concept as that might be, it should also set the framework for the legal response. It may influence how a legal decision gets made because there are certain priorities being set around a brand that may or may not come in conflict with what the various legal options are. So what do we mean by priorities versus something like goals? Priorities are aspirational. They are guideposts. They're an anchor. As interesting as it sounds, they're tied to what the inner world experience is. So if you're the business leader, this is what is addressing those inner world needs. If you're a brand, it's what's the inner experience? What are the tangible and intangible pieces of the brand that need to be preserved? Priorities are not goals. They are not a to-do list. They're not a, if this happens, then we'll be okay. That is often out of someone's control in a crisis. So I'm sure you've all seen this as lawyers. There are often things you cannot control about how the legal process will unfold. So if your priority is tied to something going the way you want it to, that you're always going to be disappointed. You can't have a lifeline that's tied to an outcome. You need to have a lifeline that's tied to the experience of the crisis, to an aspiration of the crisis. And then that's something that you can actually hang on to and make decisions from.